Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Irene Mendez. I'm the Global Program Specialist for RISE Global. And we're here for the information session for Arch 238 Belonging in Exile, Black Performance in Paris. I work with the student programs to help students with learning about what this program is. And then once they're accepted into this course, I will help you with all pre-departure details. So I'm going to pass it on to Devin and Eli to introduce themselves, and then they'll get started with a presentation about what this course is about. Devin, Eli?
You, Irene. Hi, I'm Eli Green. I'm currently teaching photography at Rice. This is my first year in the department.
My name is Devin T. May, assistant professor in the department teaching sculpture and performance and critical studies.
So like I said, we'll talk about the course first. So I know you guys have a slideshow, and then we'll switch over to just talk a little bit about what the program entails.
Great. So I thought I'd sort of give a brief course overview. This course presents a survey of the medium of performance art through the lens of Black American artists who sought the space for freedom of being and expression by way of exile and expatriation in the city of Paris, France. We will set the stage for the study of performance, grounding our inquiries in Frederick Douglass's historic Letter from Paris, a cornerstone for approaching the 20th century Black American interest in Paris as a potential paradise, a place where, as James Weldon Johnson would later write, a Black man could have a sense of just being human. Beginning in the 1900s with the survey of W.E.B. Du Bois's radical exhibition at the Exposition Universelle in Paris, the exhibit of American Negroes, we will trace the genesis of performance art and the creation of new forms of expression through the performing arts, from Black vaudeville and the legacy of minstrelsy to the birth of jazz and hip hop and their early adoption and acclaim in Paris. Through walks throughout the city, we will retrace the steps of Black American artists in Paris, visiting along the way sites of great impact and influence. We will begin our series of walks by studying the impact and enduring presence of artists of the Harlem Renaissance in Paris: Langston Hughes, Josephine Baker, Duke Ellington, and Marian Anderson, moving into the mid-century study of James Baldwin, Buford Delaney, and Richard Wright. From there, we will journey into the birth of jazz in Paris, from the Harlem Hellfighters' introduction of the genre to Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Thelonious Monk, and their historic performances throughout the city. We will screen and study a selection of late 60s live in Paris performances by Nina Simone, Aretha Franklin, and Jimi Hendrix, and draw a connection to the 80s and 90s adoption of hip hop in France and the resulting relationships found in contemporary Black performance and time-based media works by artists Kanye West and Arthur Jafa. We will make these connections through study, reflection, and site studio museum visits with contemporary Black artists and performers in Paris. We will read historical texts written in Paris, including James Baldwin's Notes from the Native Son and Go Tell It on the Mountain, along with contemporary texts, including Hanif Abdurraqib's A Little Devil in America, in praise of Black performance, exploring the importance of Black performance in mid-century Paris, uncovering questions and tensions that help to reveal how Black performance pervades all areas of American society. We will pair these readings with philosophical texts by Simone de Beauvoir, Albert Camus, and Jean-Paul Sartre, works written contemporaneously with the creation of Black art forms in Paris, discussing the overlaps, spillage, and mutual streams of influence therein. Through walks, site visits, readings, screenings, and discussion, we will reflect on the radicality of Black performance in Paris and the importance of time, space, and the place of production in the creation of new forms. This course will unpack themes around belonging in exile, exoticism, fetish, and the spectacle, camp, masks, and the creation of character as they relate to Black performance. We will study performance as a response to condition, what it means to be in performance, and how this relates to contemporary performance art practice today. This course will further students' understandings of the medium of performance art and its techniques by studying and bringing into question its philosophy, politics, and history in relation to the production of Black performance art in Paris from the early 1900s to today.
Thanks, Eli. So what I wanted to do as a follow-up to that was just ground some of that journey for us that we'll be kind of going over the course of 3 weeks, and also give everyone a sense as to why we're starting at this particular time period, and why we're going to a more kind of contemporary, present day survey of the work. So Reconstruction. At the time of Reconstruction, this is post-Civil War. This is what the country is trying to figure out what to do with millions of emancipated people, which is introducing new questions for what it means to be a person, what it means to be a citizen, and what it means to have rights. So right away, we're kind of really getting at the core questions of form, and the introduction of emancipated people are having the world and the country, as a consequence of that, having to kind of question what form is. So we're really kind of starting there to have a formal conversation about why things become what they are. With the 1900 exposition with W.B. Du Bois, as well as he was a professor at the Atlanta University at the time. So it was his students and him putting together these, I almost want to call them infographics, but it feels like that format wasn't even a thing at the time. It was more so these kind of like drawings, these responses to the condition of what it meant to be Black in this country. And what we take for granted is the fact that Du Bois and his students at the time were introducing another form. In order to respond to the form questions that were coming up of this country, what it meant to be human, what it meant to be Black, what it meant to be not Black, what it meant to be a citizen, what it meant to be American. In order to kind of respond to those questions, a new form had to also be introduced. And that way is what we're looking at now as these kind of infographics. And so what we're proposing, what we would like to kind of question, is at the same time, simultaneously, were Black Americans dealing with all these questions of being, dealing with all these questions of humanity and personhood, was also the question of kind of performance and character also being thrown into that mix as well. What it meant to kind of show up, what it meant to be present, what it meant to have a family, what it meant to kind of like produce, what it meant to kind of like have critical thought and critical question. And using Du Bois as a way to kind of ground us in that conversation with this introduction of form with these questions is what will lead us to our further investigation into the performance arts. These are just some examples of what those schematics and infographics were. Which, I mean, quite frankly, I find to be like incredibly interesting, because they don't also read as typical kind of graphs or charts that we even know today to kind of speak about a kind of seeing the influence of change, seeing the influence of variable over time. Most of the time, those things are kind of like, regardless of the information that we're aware of, that's kind of being measured in these infographics. We have a sense of what a graph is, we have a sense of what a chart is. And these things are much different from that because they're actually dealing with a brand new form. And so the hope is for both Eli and myself is that we're trying to kind of like find form, and what better place to kind of maybe introduce form and study form and find form than to do that in Paris.
I think also these graphs to me speak to the question of the function of beauty. There's also this element of they're beautiful, and why are they beautiful, and what function does that beauty serve? So I think that's something that we'll also be unpacking in performance art and in art more generally through the lens of contemporary and historical work in Paris.
And also to that end too, like I think one of the things to mention is that Du Bois was a writer. Du Bois was a thinker. Du Bois very much was an intellectual, but he saw there was something valuable in creating a kind of like visual aesthetic, you know, to kind of accompany the intellectual kind of pursuits that he had as a sociologist. That these are not things that are not aware of themselves in a way, to kind of like, you know, follow Eli's thing about beauty. and kind of visual culture and presentation. So the question not only is it like, well, how do these things kind of influence us as humanists and think about what it means to be human? But what does this mean for the significance and the value and the contribution of an art practice? Like, why is it important that these things are visuals and not a lecture and not a speech and not a book? Why is it important that they look the way they do? Why is it important that the colors are being used that they're using? So all of this becomes a really interesting, informational kind of way to survey, art practice and performance as well. I'll let Eli take
Sure.
it from here.
Yeah, we thought we'd show a few clips of films that we'll be screening. This first one is Rewind and Play, which is a more recent film that was put together from old footage from the 60s, small gauge films that were found from a French documentary about Thelonious Monk. The original footage was taken for French public television, and this later film was an edit of archival footage put together by a French filmmaker. So we'll watch a short clip of that now, the trailer.
And the first time I came to France, I was ossified all the time I was here.
No, we don't say anything about that anymore. Okay.
I mean, everything. It's no secrets, is it?
No, but it's not nice.
It's not nice.
Can you say something in French?
Merci beaucoup.
Bon, je vais encore dire un ou deux trucs, moi.
This film is a really poignant reflection on, though, Thelonious was finding praise in France at the time. He was quite famous, enough so to have this footage being taken of him and filmed. But he was also, it's also a reflection on sort of the moment, and through his actions and their responses, you see this sort of objectified character of Thelonious, and along with some very beautiful footage and painful footage of his performance.
I will say too, I mean, just in a more kind of intimate, like practical way, Eli has worked with this film in their practice. And so I think it's also interesting to kind of like work with an artist who's worked with this material before as a way to kind of figure out like what is it about the specificity of the form and the beauty that kind of like allows us this access point to this other really complicated thing. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. I think it's really cool that we're working with a material that actually you've worked with before and continue to work with.
Yeah, I think this film is one that I've unpacked in my own practice quite a bit, but I hope to also offer many films that we can look at together and unpack in our own sort of unique ways through performance and other visual strategies.
This other, I can go to the next slide. No. There we go. So this next one I'll set up, it is The Story of a 3-Day Pass by filmmaker Melvin Van Peebles, the father of Mario Van Peebles. And what I was really interested in with this film is Paris as a performer and Paris kind of becoming aware of itself as this kind of container, as this place of refuge, as this place of like relief, um, as a place that people were like, and more specifically, Black Americans were finding themselves in order to kind of work and become artists and find form and find themselves. I wonder what that means when they become a character themselves, and what that means for kind of how the city receives this influx of people that are coming there for these reasons, and what to do with that, what to do with that kind of complication of their self-awareness of what role they play in the exile and what role they play in the belonging. And so I think Paris comes up as a lot, as a character, actually, in many of the kind of more contemporary examples we look at, whether it is the Thelonious Monk film we just kind of previewed, this Melvin Van Peebles film, which we hope to screen before actually getting to Paris. And then more kind of like contemporary versions of things we kind of see in hip hop, the idea of, why is it kind of a celebratory thing for, Jay-Z and Kanye West to be in Paris, or other kind of people to kind of call out the specificity of why that is significant to their kind of trajectory as a person and as a successful person at that. So I think Paris as a figure is also something that we're really interested in looking at. So this is just like a minute and a half trailer of Story of a 3-Day Pass.
Turner, I have a pleasant surprise for you. A 3-day pass. You'll be going to Paris, I suppose. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now remember, if I can't trust you, I'll bust you.
Uncle Tom? Yeah, you. You are the captain's new good colored boy. You are the captain's Uncle Tom, baby. I'm not the captain's Uncle Tom. Maybe yes, maybe no.
No more slaving in the rain. No more boots full of mud and pain. Corn clippers for bad walking feet. And news shades for fine relief. Boss on me, you don't get a thing. The man always say you got a sauce on your tail. And you do just better go to jail. I don't care what the man say you got on me. No more putting it down. I just freeze my number now.
Je veux garder cet instant. Pour toujours.
Don't count your chickens before they're hatched, baby.
That's all. You're dismissed.
That's all we got.
I'll go ahead and quickly just talk a little bit about the program, and then we'll finish this up. Just real quick, here's the QR code for the web page, which will give you a lot of information we're talking about today. Some fast facts is this is Rice credit, so it's not like a study abroad program with the study abroad office. This is, you register for this like a regular Rice course. Classes are in English and with Rice professors. This course is 3 credit hours, and there's also financial aid available for financial aid eligible students. But on top of that, whether or not you're on financial aid or not, you're able to apply for Rice Global Tuition and Travel Awards, and that you can apply for that directly on the course application itself. The session for this program, or for this course, is June 3rd to the 23rd. That's session 2. Classes will take place at the Rice Global Paris Center, along with having Paris itself be the classroom for you all. The center is located in the Marais area, which is a really fantastic area of Paris. It's really in the center of everything. There's a lot of museums and wonderful area to be at. And you wouldn't even know it that this beautiful historical building is located right in that center of the city, but it is, and we're lucky to have it. As for who can apply, it's open to any Rice undergraduate interested in contemporary art, performance studies, and place-based learning in Paris. So there's no prerequisites and any undergraduate can apply. The tuition cost is $1,800 per credit hour, and this is a 3-credit-hour course. What's covered with that is the program will provide housing for all 3 weeks. So we have residences in Paris that we have RAs for, and you would each get your own room in that residence. You wouldn't have to share or have a roommate. And each room has their own bathroom and their own small kitchen. So it's a nice little apartment in a safe area. On top of that, you will get a Metro card for your time there to get all over Paris with the Metro. All course set excursions or tickets are provided with the program, and 3 group meals and travel insurance. Like I said, if you already receive financial aid, you're eligible to receive aid for up to 9 credit hours a summer for 2 summers at 50% the tuition rate. And what I do is I work directly with the financial aid office for anyone that applies for this program. They let me know how much aid you have available if you are eligible. And I let you know that in the admission letter that you get if you're accepted into this course. Along with that, in that letter, I'll also let you know of any additional assistance you've received directly from our office, Rice Global. So just make sure you apply for that in the application itself. We just need you to let us know what your need is, and we really try our best to help you get to Paris. So make sure you indicate that in the application. Lastly, just the application deadline is January 31st, 2025. If you do have any questions, please feel free to send me an email at pariscenter@rice.edu. I'm happy to help. And then I quickly just want to show you the course webpage for this course. Here you will find, if you request information, that will lead you directly to my email. Again, that's pariscenter@rice.edu. We'll have this recording posted here, and then you can directly apply for this course right from that web page. And all the information we've discussed is listed here, along with, on top of that, we do have a draft syllabus, so you can take a closer look about what this course is gonna have. Obviously, this is still a draft, we're still working on the logistics, but that is listed on there. And then on top of that, we do have a program page that gives you a little bit more information. So this will show you what courses will be taking place in Paris. We have an FAQs page that can give you information if you're a prospective student, or once you've been admitted and are on your way to Paris, there's information there. If you are accepted into the course, you will have access to this travel guide, which is a super comprehensive guide to Paris and all things Paris and safety and how to get around. You'll have access to that. And on top of that, we also have the Student Life in Paris page, which has information about where you'll live and learn. So this video actually shows you what the residences look like and what the center also looks like. So take a look, and just some other helpful information about Paris, etiquette, and some useful phrases. So that is it for me. I don't know, Devin and Eli, if you have anything else you'd like to share about the course.
I don't think so. I think it lists our contact information. If students have specific questions, they should feel free to reach out to both of us as well.
Yep. You can find that information in that draft syllabus, but also if you send an email to Paris Center, I'll forward it to them directly so they can answer as well. Great. So thank you everyone for watching this video, and we hope to see you guys in Paris.